Well, welcome everybody. I'm super excited to be sitting here with my newfound friend, Yvonne, who is,
That's
we will be,
I know.
she's a makeup artist, an educator, a huge advocate for ethics and celebration of diversity, which is awesome. You're the CEO of the Creatiive makeup company. And in 2022, you developed something even different that we'll dive into. So welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm living for your hair. Oh, it might be my next look. You know, I change every few weeks, so.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, how did, because I do want to mention that you have a product line, like you're just are so involved, but what was your journey to get to where you are?
Yes, this is a question I have to answer often these days. It's funny when you get to a certain point, you have to look backwards and connect those dots, right? And then try to make it like this tiny little synopsis, even though it was like a 41-year journey, because that's how it is right now. But I have been doing makeup for about 20 years and educating for just over half of that in the industry. And where I find myself now is working with younger artists and having to answer this question. I am forced to look back on that journey and realize that there's no two journeys that are the same, which is the most exciting thing, right? And it is the cyclical journey that we're all on as creatives. So even though, we're talking about salons, I feel like now in my life, now that I'm teaching I'm traveling around and teaching within the Paul Mitchell school system. So I'm casting a broad net and being able to communicate with young creatives. And so, that little creative in me wanted to do something. I didn't know what it was, right? I just knew that I had to express myself and I wanted to use my hands. And I loved painting on people, but where I came from was a very, very small town where, you either had to be a fisherman or an alcoholic. And I didn't want to be either of those. So I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to do something more, but I didn't know what that was. So that found me into all different areas. I went back to school. I do believe in a scholastic journey. I believe in, the journey never ends, that we keep learning. And I learned everything from special effects to fashion, to hairstyling, to theater, to prosthetics, to everything. And I thought I was going to be a special effects makeup artist. And after I got out of school, I did zombie movies for 3 years and realized I hated being on set for 18 hours a day. And I was like, this is not for me. And so I went as far in the other direction as I could and ended up in the world of fashion. and there's actually a connection there. It's the creativity, it's the fantasy. And I knew I loved that part of it. Now, there was a lot of steps along the way. Getting a job in retail, practicing my skills, honing my craft. That took many years. And I started learning the art of education as well. And so I did that for different brands over the years as an artist internationally with Marc Jacobs. I did it with Makeup Forever nationally, and was with MAC in the very beginning, which is where I started in fashion and ended up back in fashion when I was with Marc Jacobs. So yes, I have done a lot of things because I like to chase things that make me uncomfortable. And so that journey kind of found me in this place where I was then at the top of this corporate world as the global artist and educator for Marc Jacobs Beauty. I was like, wow. I ran as far away from that little town of fishermen and alcoholics as I possibly could. And I remember being in Dubai, and this is in 2018. And I was like, wow, this is a place I didn't think I would ever be. That little girl was still going, whoa, what is happening, right? But what I realized in that moment is that I was actually still really unhappy. And so at that point where I chased this ladder, this so-called, this thing that we're told that we're supposed to do, and I climbed it all the way to the top, and I looked around and I was like, I don't actually want to do this anymore. I don't want to be on the road 80% of the time. I don't want to look women in the face and tell them they have to change everything about themselves because that's what the beauty industry told them they had to do. I couldn't be a part of that anymore. And it was really making me want to crawl out of my skin. And what it did is it forced me to start thinking about my purpose. So my passion was level one, right? Passion was level one, got it down, follow the passion, follow the passion. That's the exciting part, right? But then you get to a place and you have to start looking at purpose. And so The purpose was definitely the education. The purpose was the passion that I had for moving the industry forward, for changing it for the greater good of all, for working with product development behind the scenes and multiple brands to help them understand global complexion undertones, and to do all the things that made me feel like I was actually making a difference for something that was better than just making someone pretty. So the egg cracked. I started my freelance career, went back into fashion, traveled around the world with amazing artists like Pat McGrath and Diane Kendall and Kabuki, and did all the runways that I ever dreamed of doing and filled up my proverbial cup, and then decided that it was time to overflow. And that's when I started creating education with my brand, the Creative Makeup, all kind of started around the same time, really deep diving into the education that I was already doing all these years, but really catering it to the everyday aspiring artist or inner creative who wants to take makeup and play with it and enjoy the process and understand what that looks like on their journey to maybe being professional makeup artists, or maybe not. But, you know, it was just kind of a rethinking and reformulating what makeup was for me and taking that back. And then it was very clear where my journey was headed. So I know that was a long-winded story, but hopefully you followed it.
No, that's
It's fun to
that's
try
great.
to change it every time I tell it. I'm like, okay, but that was the best I've ever done, I think.
I love it, and we have it on record. It's
Okay,
recorded.
good.
So how
I'm gonna
great.
memorize it.
Um, so there's so many things I want to ask. Let's start with, for those that want to take the path that you took, or that want to be in runway or on movie sets, where does that start? Like you get out of beauty school, where do you go?
Yeah, that's a question that a lot of people are asking, because the world is so, it's like the Wild West out there with the world of digital, and there's new jobs and new types of jobs being created in makeup artistry all the time, you know, and in hairstyling all the time. And so I think, you know, what I really love is the ability to give exposure to all kinds of areas of the industry, because, you know, spending 20 years doing this is great, but if you want to get right to the meat and potatoes of the situation, you kind of just want to see what you're into, right? You want to look a little bit of a broader view, and maybe that's like not going to another school and investing in maybe special effects. If you're not 100% sure you want to go in that direction, there's going to be an evolution, I think, when you're at level, you know, this beginning level, you got your fundamentals and you get to really look. And I think that's the important part, is just to take that moment and say, okay, where do I maybe want to expose myself in this great big industry? And that's why things like the Creative Makeup Collective were born, because every week, and it's really cool because we've been recording it. And so now there's already 15 weeks of pre-recorded content. Every week is a different topic. Everything from TV, film, fashion, how to set yourself up as an entrepreneur, how to negotiate your rates as a freelance artist, how to do beauty campaigns. I mean, I've literally done everything I can think of, and it keeps growing, because I'm about to kick off phase 2. Let me say that again. I'm about to kick off phase 2 of the Creative Makeup Collective, which I'm bringing in specialists from other areas of the industry that I have not specialized in. So this week I have a hairstylist, my good friend Christine, who I've worked on sets with all over New York City. She's incredible. She's going to be teaching hairstyling fundamentals. The next week I have Kirk Kimbridge Dilpeche on, who is a master designer for theater and Broadway. So it's giving this exposure to the collective to be able to see, do I want to pursue that part? What is that like? You know, and so it's giving a lot of that exposure, so you can maybe think about which area you want to pursue before you go running in that direction. Or if you're just feeling general overwhelm, which most people are, because there's so many ways you could go and so much potential. Maybe you don't even realize that you don't know what you don't know. You could have exposure and realize, maybe I want to pursue Broadway theater because that really inspired me. So my goal is to really expose the younger, you know, next generation of artists to everything they can, so they can get that experience from professionals who have been working in the industry, who've done the time and figured it out. And now we can just package it up in a little bow and give it to you, which is really cool. I wish I had that when I was just starting out. How about you?
I love that. I think that's exactly what is needed, because there is so much out there and so many different avenues to get to the same spot. Like there's
Yeah,
just, everybody has a different path and a different journey.
yeah,
So I love that you are taking it and saying, here's all the areas, but let's talk about each one. And
totally.
what's what's great about phase two that you just were talking about is that we only know so much, and we're in an industry that we're surrounded by people that have done it, and everybody in our industry, what's so great, will say absolutely, they'll come help you.
Yes, that's the best part. Yeah, it was really cool. It kind of just happened. I've really just gone with the flow. That's my new thing. I'm a super planner. I run multiple businesses. So obviously I've been very A-type in my life to be able to get to this place. But really the last few years has really been about the healing and the wellness and the taking care of the flow and making sure that that's the most important thing. And so in that space, this was kind of born, and it continues to evolve and change and grow. And as they phase two, I mean, I just made that up because it's just like something new. We're doing studio sessions. That sounds cool. Okay, I have a little studio. Yeah, it seems like a session. Okay, cool. And it's a thing. But I want to remind everyone who's watching this, who's a creative mind, who is an idea person, like me. I'm always come up with stuff, and I'm like, oh, whatever. Throw it against the wall. See if it sticks. Everything you see, every brand you see, everything that you see was someone's crazy idea at some point. Someone made up the word Essie and said that's what it's going to be, and now we all wear the nail polish. You know what I mean? So it's exciting because you never know where it can go, and that's, I think, the fun part of being an entrepreneur. Even though you wake up and start working from eyes open to eyes closed, you get to do things like this. And I think searching for that passion, meeting that purpose, is the most important part of that. I think when that clicks, you become pretty unstoppable, and it's, full speed ahead towards whatever that is, even though it can feel like flow. It's not so uphill as it used to once be, if you know what I mean. So that's very exciting. Seems like it's like I'm on the right track. And, let me just add in the last 2 weeks, I did an option where the collective could come on, and some of them are working, because I do mentorship with this as well. Some of them are working on being on camera and working on their digital content creation, because that's another class that's in there. And so it was an opportunity for those collective members to come on and do their thing. Some of them were doing their elevator pitch. Like, there was all different things that people were doing. But the collective was that they were all there supporting each other. And they were like, oh my God, you guys, I love you. When I post this thing and everyone loves it. And there's just like really amazing community. It's 56 people and growing. And so the energy surrounding that is like a very obvious, like full speed ahead kind of flow kind of feeling. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm feeling right now with my passion of artistry and my purpose to connect people in this way. And so that's kind of a very exciting thing to feel. It's different than working on behalf of a makeup brand, which I did for so long. It's just all good feelings all the time.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
So let's talk about product development, because
Yes.
you just were kind of talking about somebody's crazy idea, and now it's a nail polish that everybody wears. So
Yeah.
you have some products. So talk about that process.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how much time do we have? Because it's been a process. I started this company, the Creative Makeup, in 2020, right before the world closed. So that was a journey unto itself, because it was born as a tool. I never set out saying I want to create a makeup company. Oh Lord, no. Like, the last thing the world needs is another lipstick. Okay. No. But what I did want was creative products that I could use when I was teaching, when I was wanting to create these really avant-garde looks, which I do and have come known to do because I love to explore the art of makeup. And there wasn't a lot of stuff out there other than like investing in full palettes of body paints, that was like easy and like could go in my kit and I could create on the go and I could use everywhere. And so that's where the first palette was born. Actually, I have it here. I was just using it to mix this lipstick color. I love making my own colors. So the first one was born, and it's pretty much like a color theory palette, which essentially was everything for me because I spend so much time focused on teaching the building blocks of makeup, the building blocks of artistry. And most of that is built, as well as hair, on things like color theory. So I had this, and I had the pigments, which is like these duochrome powder, these amazing duochrome color shifting pigments. I'll show you guys in a second if you want, but I got those two because it made sense. I was like, there's a cream and there's a powder. Like, this is just product. This is just pigment and vehicles. And so I can do anything with it. I can put it on my eyes, my lips, my cheeks. I can do a body painting. I can do a face painting. I've painted people's hair with it. I was like, this is fun. This is taking makeup back, and it's fun again. It's about self-exploration. It's about Halloween every day, you know? And so that's kind of where it started. And luckily, in the first year of COVID in 2020, lots of pro artists went back and invested in themselves and invested in their own education. And so I started doing a ton of online education with my palette and my pigments, teaching color theory, teaching all kinds of different classes. And this little baby kept me alive because I lost every other job in 2020. So this was the only reason I was able to keep the lights on in 2020. And so more babies were born, of course. And I started being like, okay, well, what exists outside of this? The only thing that's missing that you could not make here is neon, right? Because that's a different color wheel. This is RGB, this is CMYK. And so I created and developed this new one. And actually it's really cool because, I'm going to give you a little light show here. This one glows in, is a UV light. So if I put on my little UV light here, you can probably see some of them glowing. I don't know. But it was really exciting because this was around the time in 2021 when everyone was kind of really just playing with makeup at home. Like, that's when it really exploded, and TikTok blew up and everybody was just like painting their face. I was like, all right, let's give them something to paint their face with. And then I made this little guy here, which is 9 different like UV eyeliners. Again, everything's for the eyes, lips, face, cheeks. It's really important for me because, again, taking makeup back in this sort of new age feminist sort of way, where it's not for one gender, it's not oppressing one type of person. It's for everyone to play and explore. It's for everyone to self-actualize. And that's the beauty of makeup. So everything I make is a rainbow, and you can do whatever you want with it. That's kind of the whole point. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I love that, you didn't set out to do this. It just kind of
happened. Yeah.
It happened for
because
you.
I couldn't find this. Like, I couldn't find a set of neon eyeliners. Like, I couldn't find a palette of, even to this day, when I give artists this, like, I was working backstage this year. I took a couple shows. I don't do a lot of fashion week assisting anymore, but I was like, I've got to get my palettes in these people's kits. So I took a couple shows and I was backstage at Coach with my little palettes, trying to be low key, like putting them in everyone's kits. And like all the artists, as soon as you see this as an artist, you're like, oh, like, tag me, girl, tag a bitch. Anyways, I'm just having a good time with it. It's kind of like this offshoot of what I'm doing. And it's exciting to see where it all falls. I have people that are wanting to do wholesale with these now, and, just different parts of the world, because the collective is literally on 5 continents. I have a girl in South Africa who has a small makeup store who's doing a lot of education, and we're talking about doing that. So it's just like, you never know where it's going to go. You just got to chase the uncomfortable feelings. And I swear it always works out, because if you're uncomfortable, you're learning something, right? 2020 was uncomfortable. Learning how to run a makeup company online was uncomfortable. Learning how to market myself on Instagram, like through all the little meta things, was very uncomfortable, because I am not learning how to set up my printer was uncomfortable. But now I have a fully functioning company, and it's really cool. So yeah. It's kind of weird.
That's awesome. Like I said, we were gonna be best friends when we met, and I love everything that you're saying. So talk about how they find your brand.
Yes. Okay. The creativemakeup.com is the website that you can look for all the products and eventually more robust education. I'm building something out right now from what I'm doing with the Creative Makeup Collective. So that's coming soon. There's all kinds of different things happening. I have a retreat happening in New York later this year that combines artistry and wellness at the end of May. That's
Okay.
all that information is on the website as well. If you guys are looking for me personally, you can find me at Yvonne the Artist or YvonneMacinnis.com. Hopefully you guys have the spelling. You can put it up in a graphic somewhere. Okay, cool. And of course, at the Creative Makeup on Instagram and all other socials. So yes, please do find me there and say hi.
We will make sure we have all of that listed when we put this podcast out and when it goes up on YouTube. So as we kind of wrap it up, I told you I want to be mindful of your time. What is something that you want to say to the world right now? Like, what is on your heart this morning that is the message that you knew that you had to give today when we connected?
Oh, it is that your past does not equal your future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and life begins truly at the end of your comfort zone. That's not just a cheesy saying, it's a real thing. So just hang in there, kiddos. It gets better, I promise.
I love that message. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to meet you, and we will be getting you in our Paul Mitchell schools.
Yes.
I will reach out to you on a different thing so that we can bring you out to ours, because I think it would be awesome.
Okay. Wait. Can we say a quick thing? Because
Yeah.
I didn't know, but the Paul Mitchell, I would love to just, because a lot of times when I'm traveling around, and this is kind of a newer thing that I've been hired into the Paul Mitchell school system as one of the Andrew Gomez educators. And a lot of times when I'm standing on stages, I know that not every student knows exactly what every bit of philanthropy goes to, because there's so much fundraising that happens in the Paul Mitchell school system, which I love. But the Andrew Gomez Foundation, I just want you guys to know, is a foundation that is allowing me to go directly to schools and to help elevate and educate and celebrate the people that are in there. Andrew Gomez was a gentleman within the school system who unfortunately lost his battle to mental health through suicide. He was also a part of the beautiful rainbow LGBTQ community. And so it is an honor to be able to stand on these stages. I too have dealt with lots of different mental health issues within my family, and have lost two cousins, one who is also queer to suicide. So it means so much for me to be able to come full circle and stand on these stages and connect to people and talk about eradicating things like imposter syndrome and all the things that stand in our way of us just really reaching our greatest potential. So I just want to say always thank you to that, and for all the amazing connections that it's created, including this one with you today. Just thank you so much for giving me the platform to be able to share a little bit more about what I'm up to. It means so much to me. Thank you, friend.
Awesome. We will for sure be in touch. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Awesome. I can't wait to see you soon.
Yes. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.